Another guy you profile is a man named Toby McAdam, the zombie guy, and he's a gentleman who began experimenting with bloodroot to cure his mother's cancer. And this is really kind of a heartbreaking story about how he started to develop supplements to give to his mother, who like told him that he had a gift for healing, and then died apparently never having taken his supplements.
Yeah, Toby's a good example of a guy who is kind of like a practitioner of false medicine as well as a victim, because he basically was out there reading everything there was to read on all these herbal remedies and believing the most extreme form or the top of the range for every claim he saw. And so, yeah, he developed a treatment program for his mother, who was suffering cancer, watched her die, didn't understand why his medicines weren't prolonging her life, and then, went on to continue to treat other cancer patients. He was kind of like a little bit adrift in life before he started selling these treatments, and the treatments really were like an integral part of his identity. Like this was how he went from waking up in the morning as the guy who ran a failed sandwich shop to waking up as the guy who could cure cancer. That's a much better thing to wrap yourself in. And he went on to treat hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people. And it took the government like roughly 10, 12 years to shut him down after he came on the radar. It's another example of how ineffective the government can be. But then you called him the zombie guy. And that's actually a really interesting point, because something I did not expect going in was that he was not, he told me that he thought zombies were real, that flesh-eating, brain-eating zombies were real. And I thought, okay, this is just another facet of this guy's quirky personality. But then when I started talking to the other healers that I profile, more than half of them also told me that zombies were real. So I kind of delved into why that might be for a little bit. And it was basically like a side effect of, the kind of yes and principle that's operating in these alternative medical fringe communities of like, I'm not going to contradict anything you say, so you better say the most extreme thing to hold my attention.
Well, if belief in the existence of zombies is widespread in the alternative medicine community, my question would be, what's holding back the zombie apocalypse? Because everything we know about zombies, at least from film and television, is that once it gets started, it spreads pretty quickly. So, like, what's containing the zombie outbreak? Do they have a theory as to why that is?
They have a lot of different incompatible ideas about where the zombies are coming from, what creates them, what stops them. So like there's 100 different answers. I was listening to your podcast not that long ago with Will Summers, and he was talking about some of the more nutty QAnon expressions of QAnon conspiracy theories. And this is like that. Like you don't need a concrete body of knowledge that can be tested. It just keeps on kind of like shifting and changing with the circumstance. It's like the people who are always predicting a doomsday, like they wake up the day after doomsday and say, well, that didn't work. But then they don't dwell on that. They just go to the very next day of doom, where it'll be a week from now or a month from now or whatever. So some of them think that the vaccinations allow the government to flick a switch to turn people into zombies, but just for whatever reason have not yet activated. Some people believe that the zombies are being beaten back by secret fighters, squads, and that sort of thing, and that they've always kind of been trying to intrude, but keep getting covered up by the government, etc.
It's the basis of this. The reasoning here is the kernel of all truth within conspiracy thinking, but also the central flaw, which is that it is an attempt to turn a metaphorical truth into a real, concrete one. Because, of course, society is metaphorically turning people into zombies, in a broad cultural sense. What they are not doing is actually, literally turning people into zombies. And I think the fact that the word literally has been reversed in its meaning popularly contributes to this. Like, we've lost that metaphorical plane to, like, discuss reality. So it's like if we're being zombified, we are literally being zombified, and we can like control it or reverse it or whatever the fuck.
I was just going to say the other thing that makes it such a dangerous and frustrating belief is that they all somehow or another wind up believing that the zombies are disproportionately liberals and Democrats and progressives, and that therefore when these sorts of strings of thought get picked up in the survivalist communities and the gun rights communities, they're all basically arming for a day against this democratic zombie uprising. And that's what makes it, that's when it gets really frightening.